Who should oversee the surveillance activities of the National Security Agency? Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. A presidential task force weighed in on the issue during Capitol Hill testimony this week. That as President Obama is preparing to address NSA reform Friday in a major speech.
Meanwhile, there are new revelations today about agency monitoring around the world. As John Waggy explains in tonight's top story, they're providing even more fuel for NSA critics.
The NSA was already in trouble here at home for requesting phone companies to collect millions of records of private citizens. The president may leave the decision on what to do about it to Congress.
They have concluded this phone record program is not uniquely valuable enough to justify a massive intrusion on Americans' privacy.
Now the New York Times reports the NSA uses secret technology to monitor thousands of foreign computers, including some belonging to the Russian military, drug cartels, trade groups in the European Union, and even U.S. partners such as Saudi Arabia, India, and Pakistan. That may create more trouble overseas, but it's the revelations made by Edward Snowden, especially about the data collection on Americans, that forced the appointment of a group to look into possible NSA abuses of Section 215 of the Patriot Act.
Our judgment about the government holding the data is that the primary danger of the 215 telephony metadata program is not if it is used only in the way in which its use is authorized, but that it leaves sitting out there a huge amount of information, personal information about Americans that could be abused in awful ways.
We've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. We know that eventually, if that much information remains in the hands of government for that long, it will eventually be abused. It will be manipulated for partisan and otherwise nefarious purposes, and we can't let that happen.
The Review Commission told the Senate committee that the secret FISA court overseeing NSA activities should not be making decisions on law or policy without an opposition voice.
Sunlight is the best of disinfectants, as Justice Brandeis said, and that it's very important for the American people, unless there's a very strong national security justification on the other side, to get a sense of what their government is doing.
All three branches of government are likely to be involved in the future battle between protecting privacy and safeguarding Americans, especially against terrorism. After the president's speech Friday, the main burden may fall on Congress, the branch closest to the people. John Waggy, CBN News.
Judges on the secret FISA court strongly oppose any reforms on transparency. In a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee, the judges slammed their proposal from the Review Commission as unnecessary and counterproductive. They claim it will create burdens on the court's workload.
Seton Motley is the president of Less Government, and he joins us now via Skype with more. Seton, how damaging to the U.S. is the revelation that the NSA has planted spying software in computers in other countries?
I think it's damaging. I think we need to do some of these things, and we don't need the world knowing we're doing these things. I'm assuming this is yet another revelation from the Edward Snowden oeuvre, but we need to do some of these things, and the world doesn't need to know about it. So it hurts us a great deal that this has been revealed.
So what do you expect to come out of the president's speech on Friday?
Not much. It's going to be one of those typical Obama speeches where he takes 20 minutes to say nothing. He's not going to, he wants to, for some reason, continue to collect data on hundreds of millions of innocent Americans and somehow extend constitutional rights to non-citizens, which of course is right in line with his wanting to extend constitutional rights to Gitmo detainees, et cetera, et cetera. He wants to eviscerate constitutional rights for people who are supposed to have them and extend them to people who don't. But as far as reining in what the NSA has been doing domestically, I don't expect a whole lot out of President Obama on Friday.
Seton, both Republicans and Democrats in the Senate are speaking out against the intrusiveness of the NSA's monitoring. What does that tell you?
Well, I think I think it tells you that, one, we're approaching an election, and two, hand in glove with that is the American people don't like what the NSA is doing domestically. I think they understand the necessity of it internationally. They don't see how it's correct and constitutional to do it domestically and to do it in such a broad, the Fourth Amendment says unreasonable search and seizure, and I think it's hard to say that collecting data on hundreds of millions of Americans is reasonable. So I think the fact that you're seeing bipartisan opposition to what the NSA and under the Obama administration is doing just tells you that it's resonating with people what's going on.
And quickly, is there any evidence that this level of surveillance has actually done anything to keep Americans safer?
No, they keep saying it is, but then when asked for specifics, they cannot provide it. No, the Russians handed us the Tsarnaev brothers in Boston on a silver platter. We didn't do anything with that. We have Nidal Hassan in Fort Hood, Texas, who had "Soldier of Allah" on his card, and we couldn't do anything with that. So there's no evidence that this blanket surveillance of the American people is helping at all. No.
All right, Seton Motley of Less Government. Thank you, Seton, once again for your insights.
Thank you very much, sir.